Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce our next set of speakers. This is going to be a fireside chat, but right before that, how acknowledging it is to actually get these tweets from Guru Raj HS saying hashtag ETVTS. It's a nice discussion. Okay, we also get a tweet saying when it comes to consumers, data is extremely valuable. This is critical because it helps businesses to better engage with customers and ensure that we meet expectations. So I think everything is being very well noted, right? Either on Twitter or right there in your minds. Praveen Kumar says, thanks for sharing more information in the Tech Summit. Okay, so the virtual Tech Summit. So I'm sure it's raining some very, very good perspectives. And now comes the time when we are going to hold a fireside chat. This is going to be around Metaverse. Now, this is what we are really talking about, and that's getting us excited as well. That's, a new emerging frontier that forms the smart world and the enterprises. Let's see what our experts have to say. We all know that Metaverse is a fast emerging virtual reality and is transforming the technological world, and we being enablers of technology, obviously we need to talk about it and discuss the aspects and the promises it holds. Now, this space will address the use experience and also the interoperability through technology in various industries, so as to say. That is what I guess this talk is going to be all about. So all of you got to join me in welcoming. Of course, as I said, it can be in the form of your comments on the social wall, your tweets, or just clapping like how I'm doing, sitting here at my home. So join me in warmly welcoming Utkarsh Shukla, creator, Yug Metaverse. We'll also be joined by Abhijeet Goel, founder, Bahikata Inc. And yes, our session moderator is Sripradish, Kapikad, the associate director from Boston Consulting Group, BCG. Well, with that, it's over to the moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see what's in store for us.
Wonderful. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much, Shika, for that brief introduction. Before I start, I would definitely like to say that in future this perhaps may not be here in this particular platform. We may very well be on a metaverse actually talking, right, in future. So and that future is not too far away, right, and it's coming here very soon. And today, joining me, Utkarsh, who is the creator of Yug Metaverse, right. He's going to walk us through, his first-hand experience in terms of creating multiple different metaverses for different types of use cases. And we also have Abhijeet with us, who's going to talk about his unique experience, wherein how he was, in a metaverse in his recent experience, real-world experience. So before we get to that experience, I would like to get started, with a couple of, questions that could actually demystify metaverse for us. Metaverse, as a lot of people, think about it as a form of entertainment, right? Be it online gaming, if not, be it the ability to collect NFTs, right? And in addition to that, there are multiple different social recreations that are being, put up in metaverse. But certainly beyond that, right? And we are definitely seeing metaverse even in the industrial space, because there are multiple different use cases there in terms of even the ability to simulate and so on. So let's hear from Utkarsh. So Utkarsh, from a metaverse standpoint, especially given that it's gone beyond entertainment, what are the different types of use cases that you see in the industries, and what are those other industries that are adopting metaverse now?
Hi, Sripradish. Thanks. So, Sripradish, I think rightly you said Metaverse originally originated from the whole concept of gaming. Basically, we used to play MMO games, and then basically, the core concept of a Metaverse basically has outdone from gaming to essentially, a lot of different areas. For example, if you're talking about retail, if you're talking about, again, obviously, marriage is one area basically. So, personal events basically. Not just that, basically, basically, fundamentally, metaverses, if you look at it from a step, basically, wherein if you are saying that what a metaverse is, basically, a metaverse fundamentally is a 3D area. Basically, the way we look at it is like an extension of a ocean. So your current social, basically what it does is basically it connects to people. So for example, if I'm connected to you on a social networking platform, I'm able to just see your updates, and I'm able to just, you are able to see my updates, and probably we can chat. Now, basically in Metaverse, basically what we essentially are saying that we are putting both of the people together in the same room. And that's a powerful thing, basically. You essentially are putting virtual consciences of both of these people, and they can do anything together. They can study together, read together, watch cricket matches together. So again, the things are absolutely left to the imagination in terms of what all things you can do together.
Are there also retailers coming to you, Utkarsh, in terms of being able to take let's say shopping experience, right, into the metaverse? How do you see that apply?
See, I mean, the benefit with metaverse is essentially, and again, metaverse is that fundamentally, I mean, you are able to combine the experiences which are sort of not even possible, or give the experiences that are not possible in the Web2 environment. So, for example, just let me give you an example. So, for example, let's say I'm going to buy up something. So, let's say, what's the standard process of buying for a normal consumer? So, let's say I want to buy a jewelry. I probably open up a e-commerce website, and then basically I scroll through something which I like. I'll probably share to my friends basically to get an advice on that. They'll give an advice on WhatsApp, and then a two conversation will happen. But in the metaverse, and then basically I can essentially do the buying decision. Versus in a metaverse, basically both of the people could be together. They together are seeing up the entire inventory, and probably one of them can just open the camera and do a virtual tryout also. And the entire buying experience typically happens from A to Z in the same setting, rather than basically that entire buying process essentially happening up over a longer period of time. And the experience is also similar. I mean, something which essentially people are very much aware of. I mean, people know how to shop in the physical world, and you are providing the similar experience basically. So it's providing the best of both worlds. I mean, the sort of experiences which the people are comfortable, and also the sort of experiences, I mean, combined with the scalability of digital.
So a lot of people attribute metaverse to the VR, right, gadgets. Of course, there is Oculus and many other gadgets that are out there, right, that would definitely facilitate and improve the experience of metaverse. But beyond VR, so what are the different building blocks of metaverse, and how can a common man also experience metaverse?
Fundamentally, I mean, basically, again, metaverse as a concept basically is a platform, an open platform, which fundamentally is a persistent platform which is available for at all times. And the difference between a metaverse and the, I mean, people who essentially are, I mean, a lot of people would be familiar with games. Basically, the difference, for example, is basically in a game tomorrow you cannot go and create anything. So, but in a metaverse, basically, it's an open platform. So you can come in and you can create any of these things. So let's say you come in, you create up a conference room. So fundamentally, basically, I mean, it's an open platform, and VR. And if you're looking at the major blocks, so for example, VR is one of the area basically which essentially provides a better immersive experience. But I mean, again, I mean, in interest, few companies have interest basically in terms of VR. So that's where basically they essentially are trying to drive the whole connection between VR and metaverse. Or other companies have interest in NFTs, and then basically they essentially are trying to change the definition of metaverse to metaverse is equal to NFT. But fundamentally, if you look at it, basically metaverse has to fulfill a few purposes. One is basically give a immersive experience. And in a country like India, where basically phones are pretty much popular, and, I mean, mostly more than 85% of your audiences are on mobile phones. So we essentially are also targeting up a lot of these phones. So VR give you an edge, but VR is not equal to metaverse. Secondly, basically in terms of crypto, I mean, again, crypto is not equal to metaverse, although the component of blockchain is something which is necessary to sort of provide I mean, this whole concept of decentralization. So that's where blockchain is necessary, but crypto per se is not a basic core necessity of metaverse. So basically, the core, if you look at the core pillars, basically one is in terms of decentralized, the other is in terms of immersive experiences, and the third is basically in terms of openness. these are at least the basic things which essentially are coming to be.
Interesting. So you brought up a point saying that even one can experience the capabilities of metaverse with the phone in their hand, and given that India has a deep penetration of mobile phones, perhaps this is something that everyone can avail. Talking about that, could you talk to us about the recent sort of use cases, opportunities that you are seeing in India, right? Especially around metaverse, and we would love to hear about Abhijeet's experience as well thereon. Right? If you could throw some light on the recent experience that you have had in terms of organizing some of these metaverse experience.
See, I mean, fundamentally, the way we are looking metaverses, in fact, I mean, they should be looked in that perspective only, basically, because I mean, metaverses should be an extension to social. And that's where basically we essentially are looking at providing a lot of these experiences which were not even possible. So, in fact, in that context, basically, I mean, we essentially conducted up a wedding, basically. In fact, post that, we essentially conducted up a Valentine's Day on Moon, basically. We essentially conducted up a lot of training, training for tribal women. So, a couple of these things we conducted.
Interesting. You just mentioned that you conducted a wedding on metaverse.
I think on that end, basically,
if you could speak about that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So in the wedding, basically, I think Abhijeet can give detail in terms of basically how was his experience. But our concept at wedding was that fundamentally, I mean, basically, people have an idea in terms of people are fairly, I mean, happy with sharing of videos. But basically, at the end user, we have sort of a passive user. So now, basically, there could be an active user. I think Abhijeet can share up more details in terms of what all his experiences were and how essentially he approached that.
Hi, Shripad. So it was a wonderful experience in terms of it was something unique, and so multiple people could join it from multiple places, and yeah, I feel going forward, I feel a lot of such events would be much common, and yeah, I think things it's basically a new technology, you would say, or a new way to actually experience events. And I mean, we are still not there, but yeah, will soon reach there probably. Or any new technology, if you see in the evolving stage, so it opens up a lot of new opportunities. It opens up a lot of new possibilities. So metaverse and like 3D experiences and such simulations. So I mean, wedding is a very strong use case of such simulations, and I very strongly feel that India is a place wherein as in people connect more with the human emotion part and rather than the logical part. So if we can connect with the Indian audience more on the emotional part, on what exactly goes in the social lives and everything, and then these events and like connecting with their say extended families, they're probably coming together for events and everything. So that's what at the core of Indian social society is. So we can probably target that, or if any of the platforms probably can, or any of the such technologies can probably tap into that psychology. So that's where it has hit a home run. And so yeah, so that's what exactly. And like people actually hardly care in India about cryptocurrency or VR or any sophisticated tech. It's more about the logic. It's more about the emotional connect. So that's what I feel metaverse opens new opportunities on and new possibilities on.
In your case, Abhijeet, how was the experience for those who were using metaverse for the first time? And like you mentioned, so a wedding is a social event where many come together, right? Especially families and so on. How was their experience? What was the ease of use, adoption, and so on?
See, obviously, like the conversation we're having right now, right? So actually, so as you rightly said in the starting, same thought was going in my mind also. Like obviously, this conversation could actually be up on a stage with a virtual as in setting, and as in we could actually be sitting side by side and actually having a that sort of simulation, that sort of conversation. So that would have been much more exciting and much more intimate, and like us having a much detailed conversation. So probably right now, what we are stuck with is probably a 2D screen. Right. So metaverse exactly changes that. So basically, you bring in more of your senses into the entire conversation or into the entire communication. So at the end, these are all communication tools, right? The more you can bring them closer to the physical world communication. So as in say two people are just sitting side by side and having a conversation. So in the physical world, so still in the digital world, that's not possible. Or still we are still far from that, right? Still it feels as in like you are sitting some in the distance, and we are connecting right now, but we are not connecting on a very sort of a intimate sort of a level. So that's a one-on-one conversations, or probably just three of us, right? But still, in the three of us also, right now we are not able to have a look or probably have a conversation sitting right each other, right, side by side with each other, right? And imagine like events or social experiences in which, as in say chachi bhi hai, bua bhi hai. I mean, there is multiple relationships we have, right, in the Indian fabric of society. Right. So now imagine some events which are happening over Google Meet. People have tried that. People have tried doing these events over Instagram, over Google Meet, or probably Zoom
Abhijeet,
calls.
what you're saying is this could actually be a fireside chat if
Exactly my point.
right now. Talking about that,
In fact, it should be right next to a fire.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Right?
The
In fact,
imagination is the limit there, right? So we could bring anything, or we could actually build up any such possibilities.
Yes. So thanks for that, Abhijeet. Utkarsh, given that we are now around the corner of Holi, I recently saw your update that you're going to be organizing a Holi party on your Metaverse. Can you talk to us about that, and also talk to us about how other partners and so on are also working with you, right, to connect to the society who wants to celebrate Holi?
Yeah, fundamentally, if you look at it, we have been, it again, from my perspective, from a lot of time, basically, I've been seeing in a lot of areas and everything, basically in games and everything, basically, there used to be a Christmas party, there used to be a lot of those Western related parties, Halloween parties, but nobody ever attempted doing something of a sort of a holy party or something of that sort. And that's where basically we essentially want to create a lot of these Indian specific experiences which sort of connect to people. Our target audience is not typically, unlike the Western metaverses, which typically are targeted at crypto users or the standard, your gamer users. Basically, we essentially are targeting at a very larger base. So we essentially, and the Holi essentially is one thing which essentially we wanted, that somewhere down the line people should have a very decent experience. In fact, we have gotten up a lot of sponsors who essentially are willing to essentially give a lot of new experiences to users. So yeah, basically that's something.
So that's something definitely that people would look forward to. I would also love to be part of that, right? And I'm sure there are many other use cases, right? So thank you so much, Utkarsh and Abhijeet, and especially thanks for demystifying, what Metaverse is, and also unlocking the potential use cases beyond just entertainment. Thank you so much for that.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, speakers, for that fireside chat, and of course some of those very relatable illustrations and examples that you all shared as well, the nuances around Metaverse. Thank you very, very much. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, what better way to round up the day than have a keynote that will actually take a leap into the next 5 years of digital transformation. Allow us to please be right back.